Hey guys, and welcome to this video. How are you guys doing? How are you moving through the energies now? What are your experiences? I'd love to hear in the comments. I really appreciate everyone taking the time to comment on the videos. I wanted to give you guys a little update on the messages I've been receiving and what I've been observing, watching the collective energies, and also there has been some very clear themes to observe when I've been working with people as well. So I wanted to mention some of these things in case it might help you and assist you in what you are moving through. As always, take what resonates and leave the rest, because the most important thing is to pay attention to what shows up in your reality, in your experience, and to go within and to move forward as you are guided. And if this can be helpful on your way, I'm happy for it. So we have been moving through a shift. It's like a lot has been shifting through. Now it's not concrete, specific to the months, because the energies are not attached to how we experience time. But for our understanding, through July, August, there was a lot shifting. There was a lot coming up. We were moving into a different set of frequencies, the way I've been seeing it. Now, through September, there's been purification. There's been deep stuff coming up. There has been projections. There has been situations seemingly out of nowhere that has made us needing to really look again maybe on those deepest wounds, on those programs that we are caught in, or that are still present, that are still active in our field. These have mainly been experienced or been made clear to us from the external. So we experience something in the external. There's some situation that we suddenly find ourselves in, whether it's with a person, whether it's in the job, whether it's some situation coming up in our lives, and it makes things come up. It makes we can go into confusion. We can go into a lot of emotional reactions. The reason why this is happening is to get really, really clear. It is because a lot is purifying, a lot is coming out. And this is not a new thing. We have been doing this, it cycles, and we have been doing this a lot over the last years. But as we continue to do this. And what I am going to share about now is what I have been observing and receiving messages on, that is sort of a collective theme at the moment. And it has to do with this purification. It has to do with coming into a realignment and then into union. This is sort of like the main topics that I have just now been seeing that we will move through the rest of this year, or at least around mid-December. There seems like there's a shift around that time. The purification is what we have been in now and that we are in. And all of this is first and foremost happening within us, within the individual, and then it will be seen in the external as well. As always, there's often things happening in the external that makes it so that we see what's inside. Or it may show us what is no longer resonating, what we would accept maybe and be a match to in a previous version of ourselves, but we have moved past it. We have developed past that, which means that we're not accepting that in our lives anymore. It's not how we want. It's not the reaction we want to be in, or any pattern. And so that we are maybe having to make decisions now that are challenging, because we have situations coming up in the external which shows us who we no longer are. At the same time, we can have situations coming up that is really showing us who we are. Maybe it's an opportunity, maybe it's a door opening, and we need to make that step. We need to take that chance. We need to really go in and have that trust in ourselves. And with that trust in ourselves, we can move with our fears. We can move into the unknown because we know that we have the strength if we are moving towards that alignment within, moving towards that union within, between our inner masculine and feminine, and the parts within us. It is, so how can I explain this? Let me see. Right. Okay, so they're saying that the connections, both within and with others, will shift a lot, is changing a lot. And this is what we are feeling is happening. So when there's the situation of a door opening of a new opportunity, the more we can trust ourselves and actually accept that we might make a mistake, what we term as a mistake. It completely depends on what perspective you see it from, whether it actually is a mistake or not. But in our human experience, we do experience making better or not so good decisions and choices, even though in the end we learn from it. We learn a lesson and we make another decision because we do know ourselves better and we get more integrated throughout that experience that we perceived as a mistake. But if we hold ourselves back because we're afraid of making those mistakes, and I've done this so many times in my life myself, we are holding also our life force back. We're holding our creative energy back, and this is what is not longer possible in the same way as we have been doing it. It means that if we're holding back our life force energy, if we're holding back that creative force, we are making it more difficult for ourselves. When we're doing that, it's going to trigger a lot of things that needs to be cleared in order for that energy to flow. Okay, so this is what's coming up within a person. If I'm holding back my energy, if I'm holding back because of fear, because of a program, a belief, whatever it is, it will be so in my face that I'm doing that I really need to make the choice to shift it. I need to shift that belief. I have to go within. I have to meet myself on that level so that I can shift what is holding me back. Those things will be triggered mostly from the external. If we go into the external and get drawn into what's happening in the external, we are missing the gift in the situation to find out what's happening within. Is it something you need to clear, or is this a situation you're just not resonating in and you need to take a step back and go in another direction? This is what we are in now, because we are moving towards union. We are moving towards a deeper union within, with the masculine and feminine energy within us. And we are also moving towards more unions before the end of this year in the collective, between people. It also means that there will be a lot of shifts and changes in couples, because some will fall out of resonance and some will come into a deeper resonance through these shifts. So one of the main topics is the antagonistic relationship we can have to something. This is sort of the baseline of what we are experiencing. So whether that's an antagonistic relationship within you, between your inner feminine and between your inner masculine, which are clashing, which are having a tug of war inside, where there's not that flow, because these two energies are wanting to unite. They're wanting to move in a really beautiful flow. It's just amazing when, so sometimes I'm being shown like how they will move when they are free, when they are in flow, when there's no nothing holding it back. And then they show me like how the energy looks in different situations. Like for example in the collective now, they can show it how it is within me as an individual. It can show me when I'm working with someone, for example. And I can see like all these different ways and how it's moving through the body. And when it's that free energy, it's such a force, it's such a powerful energy, and it's so grounded. So it's really important to stay in the body, right? Like I always come back to that. I know I've said it thousands of times probably, and I will say it many more times. But everything is happening within the body because we are grounding these energies within the body. If we have an antagonistic relationship between the feminine and the masculine, it can be because we have had experiences with the masculine or experiences with the feminine, growing up, for example, that made us have certain associations, certain traumas, created beliefs. Those deeper layers of that will be coming up now, because those are really what we have to unlock in order to get into that acceptance of our own masculine and feminine on a deeper level, and into that unity within, which also is what is happening externally. The same antagonistic relationship is what they've been pointing to in any type of conflict or situation that we might be experiencing. This means that also if there's a antagonistic relationship between you and the body, if you're identifying with the mind, for example, and we perceive the body to be in an antagonistic relationship to us, that is going to be really loud now, because anything that is of an antagonistic relationship will be really loud in order to come into alignment. Because the frequencies that we are now in, the frequencies that we have been flooded with, the frequencies that are moving through the new grid are not supporting that. And so it's going to be, if we accept that the old program is leaving, it's going to go quite smoothly. If we don't accept to let go of the old program, it can look pretty tough. Any projections, meaning if I'm triggered and I just throw it out on someone instead of taking that self-responsibility and accountability, or the withdrawal where we don't engage at all and we just withdraw from something because we just don't stand in it, which is also not taking responsibility and being self-accountable for a situation. Both of those two I would be aware of if we go into it. Watch yourself, observe yourself, and see how the dynamics are unfolding. Because when there are so many things coming up, it's so easy to go into any of those patterns which are of the old program, which are leaving. And so the more we get drawn into it, the more it's being shown to us what we have to let go of. It's the same with judgments and discernment. One thing is judging something as good or bad, or put a label on it and just not be open and just closing our mind to something. Having discernment on what you want to engage in, on what you want to be a part of and not, that's really important. But just withdrawing without being clear on something just because we're afraid or there's something triggered in us and it's just easier to just hide. That's not the energy we want to be in. So I hope you get the difference there. So any savior complex, any residues of codependency, all of this is going to be really loud in order to be purified, to realign and to come into the union. With that also comes making decisions. What feels aligned and what doesn't. What's going to be in your life and what is going to leave your life. If we attach and identify with an old program, we are making it more challenging for ourselves. And we have learned that over the past years. But it's good to remind ourselves of it. I certainly need to remind myself of that sometimes. So the energy now is almost like we're like dropping in and out of an old program. It's like we're feeling this, like we're just so connected, we're so in ourselves, we're just in almost like a parallel reality to everything going on in the external, and then it's like bam, and we're totally in the old program. We are in those old emotions, we are in those old reactions, and then suddenly we move through that and we are in this other energy again, and it can feel very unstable. Making the right decisions and having being self-accountable, taking the responsibility to clear what's on your end, to find what's moving inside of you, to realign, to clear those things, and then engage with the external from that is really important. And have compassion with yourself and have compassion with others as well, because everyone is moving through this, and it can be rather confusing when we're moving between frequencies. It is because our bodies are not able to shift this quickly. A lot can shift in the body that quick, but what we term as the ascension and moving into a whole different frequency, when a lot of things is going to turn on in our bodies and all of those kind of things, that takes time, because otherwise, like, only if all our perceptions would shift in a moment, most of us would go into psychosis, because we can't deal with it. And so it's really important to be gentle with yourself, but taking the responsibility as we move through this. There will be, again, people coming into our lives, people leaving our lives. Egos might be really loud in the external, and any distortions will be seen. As we are now moving through this on an individual level, I would not be surprised if there would be more things coming on the world stage that will show us this, that we can either be drawn into, or we can have a step back and see it as a play and see what's going on an energetic level, because that's our choice. When there are distortions that throw us off our balance, what's really important is to see, where is this distortion, where is this program, this thing that is going on in the external that I'm now being drawn into, that gets me into fear, survival, anything like this. Where is it hooking into me? What is it that makes it so that I attach to it, so that I go into it? What is it in me that is a match to being drawn into this frequency? Because if there wasn't anything, I would be able to just stand in my power, in my sovereignty, and have a detachment to what's going on. Now, this is very difficult on many things, because we are humans. There are things that are, when we see people or we see animals suffering, I'm not talking about not having compassion, not having love, but I'm talking about being drawn into any drama. Because dramas will appear, and if there's something we're being drawn into, there's something in us that it is sort of hooking into. Just like if you have followed my work for a while, you know my take on how to work with any entities or anything like this, and how that works energetically. We need to find out where something is hooking in and find that weakness in our field, and then we have to change that so that we're not a match to it. When we're not that, it's just to make the decision again and again and again to not engage to it, to not get into that distraction, which it actually is. Where the distortion hooks into you, there is an old program running. So use that to find that old program and change it. When you find it, you can change it, and then you keep choosing to change it, because an old program is running on autopilot. So we need to make that decision again and again. That's where we come in with our awareness. If we are in a victim consciousness, we cannot change this. Then we will constantly be in the victim mode. This is happening to me. I cannot do anything with it. We need to step into our power. And on an even bigger scale, everything we're doing has to do with coming into our power, remembering that we are sovereign beings. It's the remembrance of who we truly are, and also the remembrance of the journey of the humans and the earth. Even though we are not from here, there is a remembrance, and there is a journey of the earth and the humans that we are a part of, and we cannot disconnect from that. There's one more thing I would just shortly mention. I know I've been talking a little bit about it before, about womb activations. When this is happening, there will be many people having new experiences in the womb area. Realignments, things coming up, because that's the creative center. It's where we birth the new. It's where we caretake what is to be birthed. And so that means both traumas that are there. That means coming deeper into our creativity, what's really in there, what's our life force, what's that passion within. Because the more that force, because the frequencies that we are in now are a match to this energy to just come up and just really be in its power, it's going to push much more than it has done. And so if we let it, if we're afraid of it, we will have it shown to us what we need to release in order to let go and let that energy. If we are holding back our creativity, we need to find ways to make it in or bring it into the physical. Because many of us have been so many years just in the energetic realm, because the distance or the gap between our physical reality and the energetic realms that we have been playing in as well has been so big. Now it's not that big, and we are here to ground it and to create a new, and to make that gap be smaller. And so this is really, really important. And remember that whatever is happening in that area, be really gentle, and know that there will be activations coming as this purification, realignment and union is happening. And look for those antagonistic relationships, because if there's anything going on, try to find out where's the tug of war in this. Is there an antagonistic relationship between any parts in myself, between the masculine and feminine within me, which is also maybe playing outside? And if there's a situation with another, what is the antagonistic relation in this? What is happening in the dynamic? Because that will reveal what needs to be rebalanced, purified, for then moving into a deeper union. Hope this is helpful for you guys. Thank you to everyone sharing, liking, subscribing, commenting. Really appreciate that. It helps the message come out. Hope you guys are doing well. Sending you all lots of love, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.